Hey guys, I'm Brad of Brave the Woods. Last week I took my son to go watch the new Captain Marvel movie, and it actually inspired this video here today. So this isn't going to have any spoilers, and this isn't going to be a movie review, but I will say when my son and I went and watched it, we had an absolute blast. Today I'm going to be drawing Captain Marvel in a really fun, retro, colorful style based off of my absolute love for old retro comic book covers. Because I'm not a comic book artist and I don't spend a lot of time doing realistic figure drawing, I'm going to enlist the help of some figure posing apps that are for free, that are really handy and can help you come up with a unique pose and really understand where lighting's going to be hitting certain muscles, and so you'll have a really awesome reference. So let's check this out. To start things off, let's go ahead and look in the App Store and look for a figure posing app. There is a ton of them. So if you type in figure posing in the search, posing, you should get a whole bunch of apps here, and a lot of them are rated real well. There's some free ones, there's some more expensive ones, but those ones usually you can pose more people, or you have more detail like in the muscles and things like that, and some interesting stuff going on over here. But I'm cheap and I don't use this like a ton, so I just went with one of the free options. Actually, a couple different free options that I use, including this make a pose. So let's go take a look at which ones I use. Now there's this magic poser. I'm not going to go into detail. If you want to get the app, you can definitely do that. But if I want to go and add a person, I'm going to add a lady here, and it's pretty. The nice part about this one is you can kind of adjust your lighting, and it's even more specific. Like you can do like direct lighting, ambient lighting. There's a lot of control here. The one thing that I have a problem with on this one, where it is nice, I don't want all this detail necessarily, because I'm not going to draw that detailed. If I was, maybe I'd appreciate it a little bit more. But also, I feel like when you get to like the hand and the fingers and things, like if I zoom in here, like the joints and stuff are easy enough to manipulate, but sometimes when you get into the fingers in the hand, I don't know how to get through there. It's just not as intuitive. But you can play around with it. Maybe it is for you. I use Make a Pose. I'm going to flip my screen here. And I feel like this is probably the most intuitive one for me. You kind of have this sphere where you can kind of manipulate the different sections. So you can kind of rotate the leg this way. It just feels a lot more natural, and I really enjoy using this one. And it doesn't have a ton of detail, which is, again, I don't need a lot of detail because I'm not going to really be doing something hyper realistic here, and I'm not going to really focus too much on like crazy muscle groups and all that stuff. But if you go in here, you can adjust the tilt of her head and all that stuff. So anyways, you should check it out. Really handy. This one's called which one is this one? This one's called Make a Pose. I went ahead and customized this little mannequin here to make it fit really well for our Captain Marvel illustration, and I like the movement. She's saluting with her left hand, which probably shouldn't be. But hey, this will still work. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to export this out as an image, and I'm going to use this as our reference image. To get started on the actual drawing portion, let's drop this into Procreate. We'll take that mannequin pose we just created, and we'll lower the opacity, and then we'll take another layer and just draw lightly with a blue pencil right over top, and to get the main form of the body. Now, don't feel restricted by the mannequin's pose. Like, you can adjust that as you go. That's why we're going to do multiple rounds of sketching to make sure like the thickness of the arms, the legs are correct, and maybe adjust the hands a little bit. But this is mainly just to be your form, so you're not having to stress about maybe perspective or your proportions on your body. But we'll take a lot of creative liberties here moving forward. now that we finished that blue layer where we kind of traced over the mannequin that we had, and then we altered it slightly, or we're going to alter it even more now and add to it and start really making this into Captain Marvel. Because you'll notice that as we're dropping in these black lines over top, are really thinning out areas like her neck or defining the shape of her face. But now that we have the skeleton, that blue skeleton laid out for us, it's going to make it a whole lot easier moving forward. Now, this is the hardest part of the process for me, at least my creative process, because a lot of times I'll take my sketches and get them really tight and looking really nice, like I feel like this one is. It could be a drawing all in of itself, but I really want a more graphic treatment of this illustration. I'm going to customize it even further. So you're not going to have those outlines that look really nice right now. We're going to lose those and just do selective outlining later, which you'll understand as I go. But I'm going to drop in like blocks of color here to start. So it's going to look worse before it looks better. But trust me, it's going to look cool in the end. So let's just get this color knocked out. All right, so now that I've blocked out all the color shapes, now I need to go and add the shadows. So I'm gonna take that original mannequin pose, I'm gonna drop it in over top of this and lower it down a little bit so I can still see where those shadows lay. And then I'm gonna give it a graphic treatment. I'm just gonna use pops of color instead of like a true shading to make it look kind of dimensional, but still graphic and fun. I think we're at the point where we can finish this by adding in the final line work. Clearly she needs her face, but also we're going to drop in black lines in little select areas, not the whole thing. I don't want to outline the whole thing, but I do want to add it on some of the things like just where their fingers would be, maybe on the side of her hip, just to help reinforce the shape and the form and just make sure everything's legible. That's really the only reason I drop in a few of those subtle lines. It looks cool, yeah, but also it'll help read a little bit quicker. So we're gonna drop in those and you'll start seeing it take shape. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Hopefully this has given you the courage or inspired you to draw your own superheroes. Whether or not you have that background in figure drawing, these apps really do help. And at the very least, you can go out and take a picture of somebody else in some heroic pose, or they can take a picture of you and you can use that as reference image. If any of you have already seen the new Captain Marvel movie, I'm really curious to know if it lived up to your expectations. I didn't go into this having read the comics beforehand, but if any of you are more diehard fans, I'm really curious to hear what you have to say as well. But thank you again, and if you did like this video, please give it a like, and if you're new here, of course, we'd always love to have you stick around, and we're going to be doing lots of fun stuff like this, and it comes out each week, so subscribe, and we'll see you next time.